All right, you guys, we're here for another episode. I'm here with the amazing Kiori. We should get a little let them know a little about yourself, like where you're from, how we know each other, how we met, the little gist of it.
Okay, so my name is Kiori. People call me Ki or Kiki, but I'm from Bermuda, which is a tiny island in the Atlantic Ocean. We're pretty small, 21 square miles, and I am a chef. But outside of me being a chef, I'm also a content creator and an influencer. Um, I would say we have met through, I guess you could say college. Knew each other from college, being down in Miami. I did go to school in Miami for a little while. I came back and then I decided to pursue my career in being a chef.
Okay, that's good. And how's that been going for you, honestly?
So being a chef has its ups and downs. A lot of people say that because you could have those great moments where you are learning so much, and then you have those rough moments where it's like, okay, I have to think about like what's the best route to take so that I can be successful in my career. It can go through many ups and downs depending on what industry or what section you decide to choose in the chef world. So you have your hotels and then you also have your regular restaurants. And those are two different things because being under a hotel, which I currently work under, has so many different rules, regulations. There's so many amazing opportunities that can come from working in a hotel versus just being in a restaurant. Like being in a restaurant every day, you will get different scenarios, but you probably wouldn't get the same or bigger opportunities versus being in a hotel.
Okay, so what is your biggest challenges for working at a hotel as a chef?
So I would say, well, to give a little example, so first started working in a restaurant by itself back in 2019 before I went off to school. And I got the gist of it. I thought that it was pretty easy working in a regular restaurant. But then when it comes to working in a hotel, it is such a huge, huge, huge change. So depending on what type of hotels you work in, a lot of these big hotels, for example, like the Hard Rock Hotel, you have the Marriott Hotel, and these are hotels that go under strict guidelines and regulations that you must follow. So you have to come to work in a certain uniform, which obviously every restaurant has that. But the difference between a regular restaurant and a hotel restaurant is that you have a chef jacket with your logo on it versus working in a regular restaurant, they're just gonna throw a t-shirt on you and say put some chef pants on.
Okay.
You must come to work on time, which is something that's pretty obvious for everywhere you work. Um, and with working in a hotel, you're gonna have a million meetings a month. So you might have a meeting to say, hey, this restaurant's gonna open up soon. Be prepared for more staff members. Or hey, um, we're gonna have a meeting just to discuss the monthly bills and everything and how much we have been making and how well we have been doing. Or we're just gonna have a monthly meeting just to discuss everything that's coming up in the upcoming season, depending on like where you're working and the hotel. So like they might have like a summer meeting that says, hey, this is what the summer's gonna look like, this is what we wanna prepare for, this is how we want it to be, and then go on from there. There's so many different like meetings that come into play versus when you're working in a regular restaurant, it's just like, okay, show up to work, call it a day, that's it. And I actually personally for me, I do like all these meetings because then it helps staff members know this is the best route to go. Like, okay, maybe this is an opportunity for me. I can go work here instead. Or maybe this is something where, okay, we're learning about the hotel for the first time. And this is something that I could tell the public, like, this is about the hotel. This is what's coming up soon. And this is what you can see in the near future.
Okay. I've worked in a hotel, but not as a chef, but like mostly as a food runner, a bar back and stuff like that. And those meetings are really often, if I had to be honest. Like I would say either weekly or probably every couple of days. There's always
Yeah,
something like to like talk about, something that happened, either customer wise or company. It's always
yeah.
something. So I know, trust me, it gets annoying over time, but you get used to it for the most part. I didn't survive that long in a hotel. I probably worked for like 3 months. That's just because they tried me. I'm not gonna lie. Like, I applied to be a pool attendant, and they told me that well, when I applied, they said they had spots for pool attendant, but as soon as I got there, they were like, we don't got any more spots, so but we can offer you this other position as a food runner. I said, what? Whatever, a job's a job, you feel me? So I did that. So then what kind of got me twisted and mad was like, as soon as I started, like a week later, they hired more pool attendants, and I'm like, it seems like you guys wanted me to fill in that position, so you guys have nothing to worry about rather than give me the position I wanted. So that's like, well, I'll say that was one of my hardest like experiences, just because I've seen the funds and the negatives when it comes to working with food, especially with customers. People are motherfucking bitches when it comes to their food.
Yeah.
Like very picky.
I can definitely agree on that part for sure. I would say working with the back of the kitchen and then also seeing the front of the kitchen, like the two different sides, could definitely change your mindset when you go to eat at a restaurant.
Yeah, yeah. It's like it gives you more of respect for the people that work there, to be honest, because it's like it ain't easy.
Yeah.
It is not easy. I used to be cool with one of like most of the chefs in there, so they like every chef likes to get free food and stuff like that. That's like the best part of it for me. Like I can have a hard day to like here's a fresh meal, but it's like did they give you like a I guess an instruction on how to make all the foods, or you guys just make everything like differently?
So basically, how it all starts is depending on when you start. So I can use an example. When I first started, they put me with a senior chef, which would be somebody that's high up in ranking or somebody that knows the kitchen very well inside and out. And they would basically tell me like, okay, this is the recipe book that we have here. If you need any guidance, you can look here, or you can always ask me for questions. So it started off with the easy stuff. So the station that I work and always have worked at this place would be I do salads, desserts, pizzas, mac and cheese, chopped veg, and garlic bread, and I think that's about it that I can think of right now that we do. But and it started off with doing salads, and everywhere I've worked in the restaurant industry, I've always worked in a similar station. So this would be considered your code station. With this restaurant, I wouldn't really consider it a code station fully, but for the purpose of this example, this would be the code station. And I focused mainly when I first started with salads and desserts because those were simple things. So when it came to desserts, we did apple crumble, which is basically just ice cream and some caramel on top, and then a iron cookie, which is just some ice cream and some chocolate syrup on top, and something simple, like something that everybody would always remember. Salads are pretty simple as well. You had your typical Caesar salad. The only difference with the Caesar salad, so back then we used to do capers in the Caesar salad, and that would just give it a little like salty flavor. Um, Now we do bacon bits in the Caesar salad, which will also give it that little saltiness. So small little things that I started off with, and then I progressed by going higher and higher. The hardest thing that I have to say when I was learning was the pizza station because you can have so many pizza variations. Like for instance, like Pizza Hut, you could probably go there and say, "Let me get a meat lovers," and that's obviously all meat. Um, but let's just say they have a vegetarian pizza. Then it's like, okay, well, they might put peppers, they might put onions, they might put olives. not every vegetarian selection will be on that pizza, but then it's something that you have to say, okay, how can I remember this? And it was all by just doing repetition over and over and over and over. One pizza that got to me all the time when I was first starting, we have a signature pizza, which is tomato sauce, mozzarella cheese, pepperoni, olives, sausage, tomato, and then we would drizzle some sauce on top, which is pesto,
You just
balsamic,
making me hungry.
and then we will put feta cheese on top. And that was like something I always had. I was either forgetting the dressing on the top, or I was forgetting the extra cheese on top, or maybe I was forgetting the pep. It was just like so much to remember, and then it didn't even make it any better. We had a vegetarian version, the exact same thing. It was just it was everything vegetarian that was there. So I was like, sometimes that always messed me up. And then it's the customers that are like, okay, I don't want this, but I want that. I don't want this. And I was like, I'm never gonna remember this. But no, I actually knew that pizza menu by heart where I could tell you anything.
Okay, that's interesting. So, one thing that I was actually wondering about, like your TikTok page, official Kiori, like what made you want to get started on that? Like, it's crazy. Like, I really watch all your videos like almost all the time whenever you post because they're really interesting. Like, I'm always learning something new, especially since I don't really. I've only met like I only know two people, you and somebody else I used to mess with. Like that like goes to the island. And it was like that island's so interesting. It's like what made you like start doing this?
So it all started. So when I was first in college in Miami, I was like, oh, I would love to be like a YouTuber. I thought YouTube was so cool. I think everybody had that phase that they thought YouTube was so cool. I remember talking to my friends. They were like, YouTube's so cool. This is all we watch. And I think this is like people at the time. People were watching like Mr. Beast and all these other people, and it's like,
Yeah.
okay, how can we do what they're doing? And I had that mindset, but I didn't have the mindset how they had it because I was like, I'm doing YouTube for fun. Like I could care less about making the money, and I just found it interesting. Like let me show people my life. So it all started with me just doing like vlogs and random different things and showing people my college life. And I started to find it interesting because there were people that were actually reaching out to me like, oh, I'm starting out as a college student and what should I bring? I'm an international college student, like what should I bring? And I thought it was cool doing that. So I found fun in doing that. I want to say I started back in 2019. And then over time, I started to lose my interest in what I was doing because it wasn't something that I loved. I loved putting out YouTube videos, but it wasn't something as a topic that I loved. So I took a little break and I was like, what else can I do? Then I thought fashion was really good because everybody was doing fashion. And I was like, this isn't something that I like. So I still kept doing it, doing it. I was like, this isn't something that I like at all. This isn't me. Um, so then I started to sit down. I was like, what do I really like? And I can talk about it to anybody, and everybody would be interested in it. And I was like, I went back to my childhood when I was younger. I want to say maybe with the ages of 8 through 12. I had asked my dad for a Christmas gift, and I was like, I would love to have history books. And my dad looked at me strange, and I was like, I only want these history books. And I was like, history interests me, but I was like mainly history about where I'm from because I want the whole point of me having my page is to teach people about Bermuda. So even if you're from Bermuda or even outside of Bermuda, I would love to teach people everything about Bermuda, different things to do in Bermuda, different places to go, places to eat, and even the actual history itself. Like how was Bermuda even formed or found? What type of people lived here? What type of shops were here? What type of events that we even have going on? Who's been to Bermuda? Who hasn't been to Bermuda? Different things like that, what connection Bermuda has. And what it all started from was a lot of people always question, and I think it's more of a black person thing. Like, where does my last name come from? And a lot of people always connected to slavery, which it does have a connection to slavery, but it's also a deeper connection to that as well. Like, because if you look at the different islands, you have you got Jamaica, Barbados, and so many others. And you look at it where each last name came from somewhere. Like they were placed on that island for a reason from a product of slavery.
Hmm.
And I then was like, okay, let me do a history lesson. Randomly one day, I just picked up the mic and I was like, let me do a history lesson and telling people like where the last name may come from. And it immediately like blew up in my country. Like it was being shared around Facebook, it was shared around TikTok, it was shared around WhatsApp, everywhere. And I was like, I didn't even think anything of it. I was like, I'm randomly just doing a video and I'm just going about my day. And I came back from the city one time and I was like, let me just go to the pharmacy really quickly. And the lady was like, oh my goodness, I would love to know where my last name's from. And I looked at her strange because me forgetting that I even did the video. And she was like, you're the girl from TikTok. And I was like, yeah. And she was like, I saw your video on Facebook. And so more and more people, even till this day, actually keep saying, "Where does my last name come from? This is my last name. This is like where my family stays in this area of the island."
That's
And
amazing.
I think it's like pretty amazing that till this day, because that video is probably estimated 2 to 3 years old. No, and from there, I then just started randomly doing history series. And then I realized I was like, okay, I have to build this up into something. It can't just be anything random now. So I was like, why not give this a title? And make this a series. So every Friday I post Bermuda's Untold History. And how I come up with a topic is basically by depending on what's going on, like if it's a holiday going on or anything major that's happened before or anything that's upcoming or maybe an artist had came to Bermuda and they've been here before, I do the history on that. If not, then I think about okay, what's in my area, what can I talk about, and how can I show the history? Because my whole goal really is to not only share the history for the older people so that they could say, remember these memories from when we were young, but also the younger people so that they know this was how Bermuda was back in the day. This is how Bermuda is now. And you can see the difference from back then and now. Not only that, but my history also reaches out to people that are outside of Bermuda, like, okay, let's travel to Bermuda, let's visit Bermuda and see this history for ourselves.
Well, that's amazing because when I tell you I be watching like almost all your videos, and I'm like, wow. I'm a person that's into like history, so it's like me learning something that I don't know from the past or from a for Bermuda or any other place just keeps me interested and always want me to like to keep coming back, wanting more information, wanting to learn more, just the learning aspect of it. That side never dies out of me. So I would say just kind of keep on going. We all appreciate like the videos, what you be posting now. I love it. Just keep going. Don't give up. You give up, we're gonna have problems because I love the information. So you got to keep on going. Like, what is your like next step to like to push this forward?
So my next step that I do have coming up is outside of media and history, I also, like I said, I share different places to eat at. So people love when I share that as well. I first started when I went on a tour, and in Bermuda is mainly famous for their fish sandwiches. So a fish sandwich would be on a raisin bread with tartar sauce, and we will put hot sauce.
Sounds good as fuck.
Some people put ketchup and mayo. I'm normally a hot sauce, tartar sauce person with cheese and coleslaw. And it's pretty big of a sandwich. Like you probably wouldn't even be able to eat the second one. The second half of the sandwich. And I went on a fish sandwich tour, and everybody does their fish sandwiches differently. Um, you can get it with wahoo, you can get it with turbot, you can get it with snapper. So many different types of fish that people do it with. And I went ahead and made a video because I was like, I'm off from my day at work. Let me go on this fish sandwich tour and show people like different fish sandwiches. So at each stop, you would get a half of a fish sandwich, which was very insane because I feel like I eat a lot, but I also feel like I don't. So by the time I got to the second stop, I was like, I can barely eat the second half of a sandwich. And then it made it even worse that I had to go to a third spot, and I was like, I could barely eat the third one. But all to say, the tour was amazing because it wasn't just based off of going there to try different fish sandwiches. You was also getting a history tour as well. So it started out in the city, and then we made our way to the eastern side of the island, and it was very amazing, I would say. Something different, something that I've never done before. So that was a plus and a win because it was showing people that you can come on a fish sandwich tour. You can also get these fish sandwiches from these places. And then this is how I personally rate them as well. That video ended up going all around on Facebook. And that was like, I found it insane because I was like, people were like, why didn't they do this? Why didn't they do that? So I feel like that also helps to give the tour people like more to do because we only went to the eastern side of the island, which I was confused about as well. It could have been a lot more places involved. So maybe that could be something that they could take back. And which is why I love doing what I do because it also gives people some feedback like, okay, we can do more for the tour, or maybe I'll come down and visit Bermuda and try this out. And with doing my videos, my whole goal really is to have people come down and enjoy Bermuda. Um, I remember one night I was scrolling through and I had gotten a request. It might have been at like 9 or 10 at night, and I got a request, and it was so long that I had to open up. It was like da 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 dot 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 dot, and I was like, I can't see anything, so I had to open it up. And it was a lady, and she was like, I'm coming down to Bermuda on a cruise ship, and I have 3 kids, me and my husband, and we're just looking for something fun for the kids to do. And I gave so many options to her, and she came back to me and she was like, my kids loved it because I believe the cruise ship was here for 2 days. And she was like, my kids loved the experience in Bermuda and we're definitely coming back again. And that is one of my goals, to make people happy and love Bermuda, because I feel like if you're living in a place, you have to try to find your happiness within this place. There's so many people that say, hey, like I want to be able to move. I don't want to stay here anymore. And Bermuda is a beautiful place. You just have to find the beauty within. And my whole goal next is to keep on pushing forward with my history series.
Good.
I am pushing it over to actually going out to a lot of these places and showing people physically these places, so that it's like, okay, we actually go past the history every day. We can see it physically. We can actually go and interact with these things. My next thing as well is starting interviews with people that want to get their businesses featured or learn more history. I do have a huge, big upcoming. This will be my first, I would say, interview coming up, which will be with the bee factory in Bermuda. And we will basically get a tour, learn more about the bees, and see how interactive this tour is. So I'm so excited about that. And
And
then
watch that. I'm right here waiting.
after that, my whole goal next, because I realized a lot of people ask me where to go in Bermuda. I'm currently working on something that's I could give a little sneak peek to, which would be itineraries for people that come to Bermuda. So basically, you'll pay a set price,
That'll be
and
really,
then I will be able to do a personalized itinerary based on who you are, what age you are, and different things to do in Bermuda.
that would be nice. I'm not gonna lie. That's really nice. Like, I would like that, like the PDF book to that, to be honest, the ebook or something. 'Cause that would be really
Yeah.
nice. Because when you go to certain islands, especially on vacation, you never know what to exactly do. To have something personalized just based on the place would be awesome. Because I know you guys have Carnival and Juve, which is like the highlight of like Bermuda. Eventually, I'm trying to go to one, but life be lifing.
Yeah.
Be lifing. That's cool. Damn. Yeah, I'll be waiting for most of those episodes because those sound very interesting. I mean, I would say like since most of us, I know you guys are like famous for like I don't know if you call it what is that thing like she told me about Bermuda ginger ale or something.
Oh yeah,
Maybe you could talk about an episode about that. I haven't had that since I was with that one person, so maybe talk about that or where we can get it, you know?
yeah, definitely. That's definitely a huge staple for Bermuda.
Okay. Like, okay, so do you have any plans to come to Miami soon or later?
I do, but it would be maybe sometime next year because there are some like creative events that I'm actually trying to get out to. Um, my whole goal is to not just stick to Bermuda, but also travel overseas and be a part of a lot of these creative networking events because I believe networking can get you pretty far.
Okay.
Um, so staying inside your bubble will keep you closed in. So meeting new people and getting out there even more and putting your name out there more will definitely get you far.
Yeah, totally. That's one of the reasons I kind of like, got into podcasting as well, because it's like I realized with the first couple people I introduced, like they were able to like, get somebody to reach out to them because I'll always tell people, hey, what's your like your social media or whatnot, and I put it in a video and they like some people get reached out from maybe some people that are interested or trying to help out. And it's been like a good way to like promote business and brands for people. So it was just something I enjoy doing too, like help people become better people, you know?
Yeah.
So probably like at the end of the video, just I'm gonna just say your socials and I'll just tag it at the bottom. So probably over time somebody's gonna see the video, but like, okay, I'll reach out to you.
Yeah.
Okay, so my next question is, let's see. It's just so little time, so many questions. That's the only thing that sucks about having a Zoom. But we can work with it. So if you had to tell your younger self from 10 years ago, well, we'll say 20 years ago, how to become a better version of yourself today, what would you tell them?
My first bit of advice would really be to always take advice from the older generation because the older generation, yes, they've been there and done that. But then again, also make sure that you're making these mistakes because you'll be able to learn from these mistakes that you have made. But also take the advice from the older generation because, like I said, they've been there, done that. And it's another thing of advice would be to myself as well is surrounding yourself more with the group of people that will continue to push you. Because if you surround yourself around the people that are negative or the people that always go out and party and all they want to do is have fun and go crazy, like, yes, you can have fun in your life, but there's a time where you actually have to sit up and actually say, hey, okay, what are we going to do with life? Life can keep going, but you have to actually make some headway to where you want to be in life, what you want to do. So that would be my bit of advice to my younger self.
Okay, that's interesting. Like I would for sure agree on that because if I had to tell my younger self like what to do, for sure, try to keep your hair. That's the first thing I like to tell myself. You try to keep your hair because you're gonna lose it over time. But overall, just to have more confidence in yourself because life will kick your ass severely if you're not on point with everything, especially with the people around you, your friends, or whoever you call family. Because nowadays anybody could be called considered family if you trust them enough. So it's just some things to think about. But so let me ask you another question. So I know for a lot of people, the hardest question is to ask themselves like, do you ever feel like you ever settled in a relationship just because you just feel like this is where you currently stand, or there's nowhere better?
I would say it's a 50-50. So for me, I would say yes, but also no. Um, only because settling will get you nowhere and then it will keep you broken forever. And you don't want to continue the cycle of being broken. Um, it's like a domino effect. If it happens to, let's just say, use family as an example. If it happens to your grandmother, and then it happens to your mom, and then it happens to you, you have to learn how to not settle for less and want the more or want better for yourself, because the more that you keep that cycle going, the more that it will keep on going down the domino effect of life. And I realized that there's a time and a place where you have to stop certain connections. Even if it's family, friends, whoever, somebody that you're dating, married to, whoever, you have to realize that sometimes God puts people in your life for a reason, to either teach you a lesson or to help you with that lesson. And I've had so many people in my life come and go, come and go, come and go. And I realized that I have to say to myself, who do I want in my circle that will help me succeed and see the further point that I want to be at? So settling wouldn't be the best option in my opinion, and I don't think I would. But then there's sometimes where you have to settle, because it's like, okay, I see that this person would definitely help me get further. Um, and I can say in my own life personally, I would say, because there was times where I didn't have a good relationship with my parents at all, and I realized that there's a time where I have to cut off certain people, and then there's a time where I have to say, okay, I can see that my dad's actually wanting the best for me. My dad's actually helping me out. My dad's been there, the type of person that actually really sees something in my future. So I have to settle for what my dad has versus like anything else that I have going on. I have to let that go.
Okay, awesome. 'Cause when it comes to settling, I agree with you. It's a 50-50 thing, especially depending on where it stands. Like, I would always tell people never settle for less, because the second you settle for less is where things actually, like you said, go to shit, really. So I always have this rule when it comes to, like, relationships, jobs, or just meeting new people. If you feel like something about the person, job, or situation is like making you feel some type of way, maybe they're just not matching your energy right now. Sometimes not everybody's gonna be matching the same energy that you're gonna be putting out. Some people have low vibrations and people have some high vibrations. At the same time, it's like you have to see what fits you. Like, does this person bring value into your life? Does the job bring value into your life? Does your family still keep you upright regardless of what's going on in life? Do they keep you accountable when whatever problems come your way? And these are like things that I have to like look at on a daily basis, just because some one day you can be happy with everybody, your job. Next day something goes to shit. Now you have to determine, do you want to keep working with that or you want to just move on? These are things that change on a daily basis, monthly basis, even a yearly basis. But it all depends on what you think is right. Because sometimes you're not always going to be right. There's going to be days you're going to be wrong. Sometimes you just got to say, I'm sorry, but just keep it moving?
Yeah, definitely.
So, my last question, since we're down to the last couple of minutes, which kind of sucks because this episode is kind of interesting, is what would you say? Like, what's the best way to word this question? What is something you can tell like, let's say, somebody like, damn, this is funny, but what is something of value that you can tell me that I can tell somebody else so they can learn?
Something of value. I would say always keep learning, always keep searching, and always surround yourself around the older generation, because these are the people that always have knowledge, that always see or can see the best for you and want the best for you. If you keep on learning and searching, you'll be able to find whatever is out there for you. Um, it can be education wise, it can be relationship wise, it can be maybe your next chapter in your life, like maybe this job is not for you, or maybe this fun activity isn't for you anymore. Um, I say all of this to say because as a person that keeps on learning every year, so every year I try to give myself something new to learn so that I can so fulfill myself as a person. Um, Everybody learns in their own way or whatnot, but I just feel like learning a skill will open up a different side of myself. So I've learned DJing, I've learned a little bit of tattooing, I've learned photography, and all of this just so that I know who I am as a person. And learning all of that has brought the artistic side out of me.
That's great. I'm happy to hear that. But since we're down to, I don't know how many seconds left, we're just gonna end the video at this. I will add your socials at the bottom so everybody can follow you, support you, and just keep your journey going. And we always keep it real on this episodes when I post them. So we'll see you on the next one, hopefully.
Of course.